Okay, we got why I stopped using a keyboard for FPS games from Penguify. I'm not sure if I said this right. But anyway, let's get into it.
For the past year, I haven't used a keyboard to play FPS games, but I haven't used a controller either. I've been using this.
The thing.
The Aeron keypad.
The Aeron. The dreaded boogeyman of PC gaming. Neither controller nor keypad or keyboard. Bro, my buddy plays with one of these things. And he's got big ass, like Shaquille O'Neal size hands. So I think it's kind of funny that he uses this thing because I think this is like a one size. So I don't know. I just think it's funny.
The eldritch horror of gaming peripherals.
Oh yeah.
It looks so ridiculous, so impractical, so weird. Why?
Bro, this looks like a booby trap that would be in a Saw movie. Okay? That's what it looks like. Like you stick your hand and it's like, you have 5 minutes to solve this riddle or you lose your fingers.
Why am I doing this to myself? But after using it for a year, I don't really want to go back to a keyboard again. It all started 3 years ago when I was doing a stream and someone brought up the device in the chat.
You should try using the Aeron.
I looked it up and we all had a good laugh at the device's expense. There was a part of me that thought it would be fun to try, but...
Look at this thing. It's even more ridiculous when you can see all the pieces. Like, there's the whole black one. But you can't really appreciate the complexity of the detail unless you can see all the working pieces. Like, look at this. Bro. This is a Chinese finger trap if it was designed in Cyberpunk.
Really just for novelty's sake. I didn't think there was any potential at all. But when I released a split keyboard video, I got a DM from Kovac, who is a big fan of unorthodox FPS solutions. He and I share interests in things like glass mouse pads, mouse Excel, movement shooters, and apparently ergonomic keyboards. But after a brief conversation, he said, "Hey, have you heard of the Aeron keypad?" It turns out this device did have a reason to exist, and the reason was kind of interesting. First of all, it has a lot of accessible buttons. I don't really play games that have a ton of binds that need to be used in quick succession.
Bro, Doom would be the game to use this shit on because I know, like if you play, what is it? What's the, Quake? If you play Quake, I mean, it's only a natural progression to like Doom, all right? Because it's essentially about the same like core mechanics. You know, you have all your guns accessible to you at all times. There's like about like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think like 8 guns, all with like alternate fires, all like usable to kill different enemies. And bro, whenever I play Doom, I have to use the dang. Well, it's all fucking tangled up, but I gotta use the Corsair mouse pad, or not the mouse pad, the MMO mouse, the thing with like the 12 buttons on your thumb. That's the only way I can play Doom because my hands are not that flexible, first of all, and number two, I don't really stretch them that much. I know I probably should, but whatever. But essentially, I think Doom is great, but it's just a pain in the ass that you have to do so much weapon swapping. It sucks, but it doesn't, but it does. So yeah, that's how I play Doom. And I can 100% see why the Aeron would be the peripheral of choice to play Doom if you don't have an MMO mouse. I don't know. This video may end up convincing me to get one of these things.
So while the nice use case didn't really sell me. But despite him being an arena FPS fanatic, which is known for having precise and technical movement inputs, he was interested in the analog stick. Controllers and FPSs are usually seen as the inferior movement option.
Yes.
In games like Apex, you see quite a lot of controller users complaining about the ridiculous movement that keyboard and mouse players are able to pull off.
The main concern with the joystick is crossing the center. If you don't know what crossing the center means, that means when the joystick is perfectly up, no movement inputs are being inputted into the controller. And if you want to like do any sort of like AD strafing, like left and right, you have to cross the center. So if you compare a computer or a keyboard doing 80 strafing, and then you compare it to a controller doing 80 strafing, one is just simply going to be a little bit slower. But that little bit of slower, 80 strafes is enough to warrant some sort of competitive viability between the two inputs. Either one being better or one being worse or whatever. So I'm not sure what to think about the joystick in terms of like competitive games. I think the joystick is fine if you're not playing competitive games on the Aeron, but I just don't know what to think when you do start using the joystick.
But it's not really because of the analog stick. It's mostly a factor of binds, things like the scroll wheel, and the ability to turn very quickly with the mouse.
Yeah.
The analog stick itself isn't the cause of controllers' limited movement. When you use WASD to move, you can move in 8 different directions.
Mm-hmm.
With an analog stick, you can go in all of the angles between.
You can go in all the angles in between, and so with the ability to do that, everything, you can be a little bit more precise in your movements depending on what do you call it? Your what is it called? Your joystick. What the heck is it called? Where there's a God dang it, the dynamic profile of the joystick. I think in general people only concern themselves with the right joystick and what dynamic profile they use. Linear, classic, and then there's a bunch of other ones. Versus people messing with it on the left one, because like the left one controls movement. So with all of this, like a little bit more precise movements, your character will appear to move like a little bit slower. That's just what I've noticed, like playing competitive games and with crossplay that involved. You can easily tell who is playing on a keyboard and who's playing on a controller with just simply how they're strafing.
Between those 8 directions. On top of that, with a keyboard you're either moving at max velocity or not at all. But with an analog stick, you can move at any speed between these.
Yeah.
The analog stick should actually expand the realm of what's possible with movement. There have been a few noted use cases for the speed aspect, where in CS you can actually move slightly faster than walking speed without making any sound. It also helps for making very minute adjustments to your position, or potentially just confusing enemies with the speed that you move at. There may be other use cases for not moving at full speed, but in the games that I typically play, I haven't explored it too much. I have a lot of hours in FPSs. Moving with a keyboard is second nature to me. But there is something so intuitive about having all of your movement be on one finger and not be constrained to these 8 directions. You will move at the exact angle that you want to move in. Both Kovac and I experienced this feeling from the first day that we tried it, where even though it wasn't comfortable to use yet, we were still surprised at how we subconsciously used our movement to make small adjustments to our aim. There is something natural about grounded movement with an analog stick that despite our years of experience with moving with a keyboard, we felt free with an analog stick.
I dig it.
If you watched my video about TF2, I talked a little bit about dodging and AFPSs. It's a lot about setting expectations and then breaking them, being aware of people's habits and predictions, and using that to inform how and when you dodge. In a game like TF2, people are so used to aiming at the 3 main directions of approach, and a lot of skilled players will make use of their mouse to adjust their trajectory. But to do this, you must take your aim off the opponent to achieve an angle between the main 3. This trade-off does not have to happen with analog movement. You have so many more options for what angle approach you can take, all while keeping your crosshair trained on the target. In terms of movement tech, TF2 is on the Source engine, just like games like Apex, CS, Titanfall, and many highly skilled movement mods.
Oh yeah.
They all feature this concept of air strafing. By pressing the key perpendicular to the direction of your momentum, you can make curved motions in the air. Typically, you'll see people using A and D while they look forward, but you can also do it sideways with W and S, and half sideways with various key combinations.
Jesus.
While niche, learning these alternate strafing styles is useful for movement shooters, since they give you more freedom with cross.
I mean, most specifically, movement shooters that use the Source engine. Like there are a lot of other movement shooters that don't use the Source engine. And I would also say, if you're playing a game that the movement is based off the Source engine, like you just kind of have to know, like you just have to know that those mechanics are going to be in the game probably.
Crosshair placement, and generally more character control. But what happens when you have more than these 8 angles created by W, A, S, and D? The Source engine is an engine full of quirks, odd interactions, and unintentional physics that makes for a really interesting movement sandbox. People are still expanding upon the movement potential in its various games so many years after its conception. Surely, with the introduction of analog movement, something is bound to get weird, right?
Maybe.
Okay, ready to run in?
My goodness.
Go down.
Oh
go
my
down,
god!
kill the
Oh my
boss.
god!
Dang. That was a dodge. Where's that dude shooting?
Introducing the orbital strafe. To perform this groundbreaking technique, you must first aim your analog stick at
The orbital strafe? I mean, that's just a circle strafe in the air. That's just having like a high air velocity. And then you jump, do that in the air, and then come down. Of course that's hard to hit.
the normal air strafe angle. Then, smoothly drag the stick around its circumference in the direction you want to strafe it. This will create a curved motion in the air without even moving your
Oh shit, now you introducing the quarter circles in here? Oh dang, now you're getting all Street Fighter on me.
mouse. That probably doesn't sound that crazy, but curving in the air without moving your mouse is a foreign concept to anyone who plays Source games.
Yeah.
This is an impossible strafe using a keyboard. And while the full orbital strafe is good, the real power of it comes from the minute adjustments you can make with your airborne momentum on the fly. It's a good character control tool, and it's very effective at dodging, partially because it's so unfamiliar for most people. I find myself doing these small adjustments to my position or dodging rockets with this technique without even thinking about it now. But that's just TF2. Is it viable in any other games? And
Probably.
can it really be better than a keyboard?
Diabolical. That's some good aim. Well, that's that Gundam game. Dang. That's some good aim.
I legitimately prefer using the Aeron keypad to a keyboard in most scenarios. There are downsides even just in TF2, where the ability to instantly change your strafe direction can give you better speed gain in the air, but it's a small enough difference that the added character control and general intuitive feel it gives me is worth it. I'd use it for almost anything that it works with.
Hmm.
It's worth noting that not every game supports simultaneous controller and mouse input, and you'd have to map your analog stick to WASD, which I did do for some of those clips, but it kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
If you're interested in it, you could try using a controller on your left hand and a mouse on your right to get a feel for it. But the way it solves the issue of binds is pretty important for any serious usage. Wooting's keyboards also have analog functionality that I haven't seen too many people explore outside of CS, but a lot of the Hall effect keyboards that came after it don't have this feature. But I found out about the orbital strafe and the odd character control quirks just by playing and using this device. And while it's not some absurd tech that gives me twice the speed of any other player on the server, it's still an advantage that is constantly applicable in normal gameplay.
Oh yeah.
The Aeron keypad admittedly has a pretty small target audience. But
yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like, I like the fact that since becoming like transitioning to like PC gaming, I've just been exposed to like so many like weird little peripherals and whatnot. I mean, shit, I got that one arm sleeve that was all like PTFE on one side. It's like chilling back there or whatever. I do not want to drag that shit out. But there are admittedly a lot of memes, meme peripherals in as far as like PC gaming goes, but I think the Aeron is a pretty good product, worthy of at least trying out, if not getting like an update. You know, like having like some more dedicated software on level of the Wooting and whatnot, and all the little updates that it's getting. It's getting like what's that snap tap feature, or the Omni OD? What's that thing they call it? OSD, not OSD. Omnidirectional omni-conditional direction thing. It's like snap tap or whatever. OSCD. I don't know, but if it got like some more updates, maybe another revision to like the overall model, some more fine tuning with the software, I think it could be a pretty good competitor for keyboards and everything. 100%. I cannot count out the Aeron.
But it makes you wonder what kind of unique movement tech has been locked behind
Damn, that thing has seen better days.
an analog movement that nobody has discovered yet. Thanks for watching.
Huh. Oh, that was pretty cool. I mean, I like it. I like the Aeron, and if I mean, how much is an Aeron? Check out at Aeron. Was this like the EU one? How much is this thing? I'll look at it later. Whatever. I don't think this is like the cheapest thing. I don't remember the price. Let me see. How much is Aeron? $200. I mean, that's not the cheapest peripheral. That's for damn sure. But then again, you could compare it to like the new SnapTap Razer keyboard, or just any Wooting keyboard, and I think it would be comparable in terms of price. But the thing that a keyboard has is that not only do you use it for games, you also use it for general use. If you buy an Aeron, you only get that shit for playing games. I don't really think anybody's doing like general purpose Aeron use. That would be my only critique of it. I mean, if you're like that diehard of a gamer, go ahead and get it. I mean, it's whatever, but I don't know. Like, I kind of want to try it. But no, this is a cool video, 100%, and I think it's worth giving it a shot for sure. But overall, cool video. I'm interested in it, but I don't know if I want to pull the trigger and buy it though. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, later.